Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Making videos is a lot harder than it seems. So today is all about land because I'm here putting up a sign on a new land listing that I have that will be live here in the next week or so. And I just kind of wanted to go over some of the steps you should probably take if you're thinking about buying some land. First and foremost, probably is utilities. What you need to think about with utilities is if it's public water and sewer, and if it's not, then you should think about that it needs septic and well. It's going to have a variation of one of those things if you're buying it for a building lot, of course. If you're buying it for riding four-wheelers or hunting or something like that, it doesn't need to have any of that. Now, if you are buying with public water and sewer, you should call the county and see what the hookup fee is, because they will charge you to hook into their water and sewer on top of charging you a monthly fee for your water bill. But if you're going the well and septic route, now that's dependent on if it's been perked or not. Now there is nothing for well. Now you could call well companies and see if they've drilled wells in that area before, and they can kind of give you an idea of how deep they've drilled before, and that should give you kind of an estimate. And you just need to have room for your well and your septic all in the same plot. Now when it comes to actual perk tests, and that's where your septic will be. Now your septic, remember, is all the wastewater coming from your house, from your toilets, your kitchen, bathtubs, your hot water heater, the whole 9 yards. That land has to perk, which means that it percolates. It will absorb that water, and Mother Nature will do its best to clean it. You want to make sure that that lot will actually perk. There are lots out there that will not perk, and honestly, that's a useless lot. You can't build on it. It's not a very good investment. It will perk for the amount of bedrooms that the soil can take. So they usually allow 2 people per bedroom. So a 3-bedroom perk's like up to 6 people. 4-bedroom perk is up to 8 people, kind of thing. I think you can perk them as much as you want, but it also comes down to size too, because they're only going to allow but so many lines, and that each line, if you look back my septic video, each line can determine on how many people and stuff like that. If the lot's really small, you're only going to be allowed to have such a big area designated just for that drain field. I do want to preference that I'm not a soil scientist, nor do I actually do septics. This is just stuff I've learned over the years. And of course, if you need like internet and stuff, if we're touching on utilities, you should probably check into that before buying the lot as well. Satellites come a long ways in the last couple of years. Still not high-speed fiber optic by any means. Now, a perk test could have been done by the previous owner and they could have uploaded it to you. And as long as you didn't disturb those soils, it should be good, but I would again double check on that. Survey is another thing that I would highly recommend just to make sure. I personally sold like 140 acres one time and it ended up being like 126. So a little discrepancy from what the description was in the county. That farm was sold a long time ago, like early 1900s, and just with today's technology and stuff, some lands kind of disappeared off what they originally thought it was. So you can get a survey done to actually mark out all the lines. Now you can take it a step further and get them to actually flag every line. You can get them to flag the corners, but you should have a pretty good idea, especially on like this lot. There's an easement right beside it. You want to make sure that that easement with a walking trail is not accidentally on your lot. If not, the county is going to have to move it or something like that. But you should get a survey done, and you will if you're building anyway, so you might as well spend the upfront cost. Make sure all that lot is exactly what you thought it was. Get everything marked. That way you just know for a fact that you are good. Now when you buy a piece of property, you want to think of, if you're buying a house, you usually do some sort of home inspection and or other inspections. On a piece of land, on a raw land deal, it's a little bit different, but you just put what's called a study period in there, say a 30-day study period, just to make sure you can get all these inspections done out of the way, and it still saves you the opportunity. Say if that land doesn't perk, you can walk out free and clear, at least in Virginia. Same with like if you find out that the land's not buildable for other reasons with the county, there's a creek running through it that you didn't know about and that makes it not buildable, something like that, you can still get out of that contract free and clear. Now if your property's in the HOA, same concept. You need to make sure that that HOA is going to allow something of like what you're planning on doing. Say if you're a school bus driver and they don't allow you bringing home commercial vehicles or school buses in the neighborhood, well, that's not going to do you very good. On top of that, there's things called covenants that you might not have an HOA, but if it's in a neighborhood, it could be covenant. Covenants are going to be kind of building restrictions. Say they want 1-story houses over 1,500 square feet or 2-story over 2,000 square feet. And so if you're trying to build like your downsize, a little 1,000 square foot house just for yourself or whatnot, and that county, the covenants won't allow it, do this work up front. That way you're not buying the property and not being able to do what you want with it. So for the next few, we will do a little walking tour. You should check your grade of the land too. So that depends if you're planning on doing like a walkout basement. You should have some sort of hillside. Now you'll be surprised what these guys can do do with the equipment when they are making like the final grade and stuff. You'll be surprised how much dirt they can actually move. But if you are looking to do like a walkout basement, you should have some sort of topography that will work for that. Another thing to keep in mind is wetlands, because that brings up a whole different slew of other issues, like with RPAs, and you can't build within 100 feet of a wetland. Things you should check in with the county. Now, if you're buying a big parcel of land, you could have some timber value in there, and then you can get a forester in there to see what the timber value actually is, and that could actually open up to a potential profit of timbering it prior to you building on it or whatever you'd like to do. But those are things you should check out. You should kind of know like what the value of the land is versus the house you're building. So a good rule of thumb is usually 3 times. So if you're buying a piece of property that's $100,000, you should have like a $300,000 house on it. It does become an issue if the value is like 30% or more of the actual residence, because a lot of loans are not going to allow it. So for resale or something along those lines, it could become an issue. So again, you're looking at like a $100,000 piece of land, $300,000 house, $400,000 total is kind of a rule of thumb. Now, with price of land getting pretty high nowadays, it does become some sort of hassle. It can become an issue. But if you're looking at like a $200,000 piece of waterfront, you better put a nice house on it. So anyway, guys, I just walked this property. I'm heading back out to the truck right now. Anyway, yeah, I just want to say thanks again for checking out my channel, and I hope this helps. I know it's not nearly in depth. Of course, you can always hire me. Check you on the next one. Bye.